Welcome to the Deep Dive. We explore compelling sources to find those key insights that will really help us understand the world better. Today, we're plunging into a really gripping narrative, The Serpent's Jewel, a legacy of redemption. It's a story that digs into some heavy themes, inherited trauma, what legacy actually means, and our, pretty complex relationship with nature. Our goal here is to get beneath the surface of Emily's amazing journey. We want to explore not just what happened, but why it hits home. We'll look at the psychology of grief, maybe vengeance, the meaning behind these ancient symbols, and, well, the surprising roads to forgiveness and finding purpose. Get ready, because we might connect some dots you didn't expect. Okay, let's dive right in. It starts with Emily's childhood, right? And it's overshadowed by this huge shift in her father. He used to be this revered figure in their town, a gentle snake handler, known for using his harmonica to charm snakes. But then a tragedy, and everything changes. By the time Emily comes along, his passion is gone. It's turned into this consuming hatred. He starts hunting snakes with this really fierce, almost weird rage. Like every single one is a personal enemy.
It's such a striking example of how deep trauma can just completely flip someone's world upside down, isn't it? You have this man who had this connection with snakes suddenly becoming their number one enemy. It's more than just behavior changing. It's like his whole identity gets rewired, fueled by this unbearable loss, this kind of displacement of grief onto something else, in this case, vengeance. It was really powerful, almost primal thing you see sometimes. And it sets up this incredibly conflicted world for Emily right from the start.
Yeah, exactly. And that unbearable loss was the death of Emily's mother. Emily was only 8. She actually saw her mother collapse after being bitten by a black snake. Her father couldn't save her, and he just becomes consumed by it, utterly consumed. He spends years wandering around, sometimes playing his harmonica like he used to, but it always ends with him killing the snakes. Staring at them afterwards, the story says, like he was looking at mom's killer. His whole world just shrinks down to that single destructive focus. But here's where it gets, well, really interesting, I think. Despite her father's intense, almost pathological hatred, he eventually makes Emily responsible for ending the snakes he catches. He just hands them to her. End it. You'd think a kid in that spot would just be terrified, right? Or maybe even start hating them too.
Absolutely. You might expect her to mirror that rage, or at least develop a really deep fear, a phobia. But Emily's reaction inside it's quite different. The narrative says her heart would twist, sure, but snakes didn't actually scare her. They fascinated her. She noticed their patterns, their skin. She wondered about their little flickering tongues. It points to maybe an innate empathy, or perhaps just a unique kind of resilience, psychologically speaking. It allowed her to see past the fear, past her father's narrative of pure evil.
And what she does then really shows her character, I think. Instead of killing them, she starts secretly releasing them down an old, abandoned well. She calls these moments sacred, even lets them coil around her hands sometimes. She wonders, maybe one of them is related to her mother's killer. But the hate just never takes root in her. She feels this different kind of love for them. It's like this secret compassion she has to hide. She's basically building her own moral code against her father's obsession. So Emily carries this secret for years. She keeps up the illusion for her father, lets him think she's part of his revenge quest, but she's living this totally different truth. He has no idea. And the actual story of her mother's death, well, it's much more complicated than he thinks. Hidden by his grief, and maybe by Emily wanting to protect him. Then her aunt finally tells her what really happened. Turns out Emily's mother also came from a family of snake handlers. She loved them too, enjoyed playing with them, taming them. But her curiosity went somewhere dangerous when she heard about this thing. The Serpent's Jewel.
Ugh, the Serpent's Jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't just some random magical item in the story, is it? It feels like it taps into something much older, a universal archetype. You find these stories everywhere, right? Powerful hidden treasures, guarded by ancient creatures, promising unbelievable wealth or power. The ant describes it as this rare, glowing gem, found only on snakes that live 100 years, snakes devoted to guarding it. That immediately makes it more than just a pretty stone. It becomes a symbol of this ultimate untamed power, something that demands respect and maybe punishes those who try to take it by force or, well, out of greed.
Right. And Emily's mother becomes fixated on it. She searches the woods, the fields, often at night, using her harmonica to call the snakes. The story gives this really vivid image of when she finally finds the snake. A huge black snake with golden stripes, its head glowing faintly, red eyes, holding itself with this ancient sort of pride.
And what's really striking there is how these snakes are described as ancient mystical beings who were here before us, humans. The aunt explains that some people worship them, some fear them, and some, well, they invite death by trying to steal from them.
Hmm.
That completely throws a wrench in the father's simple good snake, bad snake view, doesn't it? It introduces this much older, way more complex dynamic between humans and the natural world, where maybe reverence and awe and, yeah, a bit of healthy fear are more fitting than just trying to conquer everything. It really undermines the story we've been hearing from the father.
Definitely. And despite knowing snakes her whole life, Emily's mother makes a fatal mistake. She plays her harmonica, the snake lowers its head, and she reaches for the jewel. Instantly, the snake strikes her foot, the venom works fast, she collapses, and she's gone in minutes.
That moment really brings up a critical point about human desire and maybe not respecting nature's boundaries. The aunt is very clear about it. She says it was greed that did it. If your mom hadn't reached for that jewel, she might still be alive. So it's not just a random snake bite. It reframes the whole tragedy. The snake wasn't just being vicious. It was protecting its treasure. It forces Emily, and us, I think, to reconsider who the real aggressor was. It shifts the blame from some evil snake to a very human mistake, a lack of respect for something powerful and ancient. It just completely flips the father's narrative on its head.
Wow, yeah. And Emily keeps this devastating truth quiet for years. She's afraid it would just destroy her father, who's already so fragile. But fate, like it does in these stories, throws another curveball. Years later, her father, much older now, is out hunting snakes again, and he gets bitten by a dangerous green and black spotted one this time. Emily says he just made this soft grunt, no scream like he'd expected it, almost like he was resigned to it. He's near death, and Emily feels like her whole world is ending, picturing this empty future. Right then, a neighbor woman gives her this tiny sliver of hope. She whispers about an old sacred site, an ancient Native American mound nearby. It's linked to serpent spirits, apparently, a place where wishes come true, and the sick get healed, especially for snake-related troubles.
That's a really fascinating convergence of different belief systems, isn't it? We've had the father's personal folklore of revenge, the aunt's kind of mystical serpent stories, and now this ancient Native American sacred place. It really highlights how humanity has this long, complicated, often contradictory relationship with serpents across all sorts of cultures and spiritual paths. They're feared predators, but also powerful spirits. These different narratives show how societies try to make sense of and interact with the mysterious parts of nature, attributing both danger and profound healing power to them.
So Emily, barefoot and desperate, starts this dangerous journey into the woods. She talks about sensing this invisible presence, like footsteps echoed mine, feeling a shadow breathing down my neck. Then something saves her from falling, a strong, unseen grip. It guides her right to the mound. She feels this strange calm, like she knows she's safe. Inside the mound, there's this faint light, and then a young man appears, radiant, deep black eyes. He smiles, puts her at ease right away, and reveals he's a Serpent King, a leader among serpents, over 100 years old, and he can take human form. He even says, "This isn't my true shape. I chose it so you wouldn't be scared," which adds this whole other layer of deliberate interaction.
Okay, this is a huge moment, a direct encounter with the mystery at the heart of the story. And the Serpent King reveals he is the snake that bit Emily's mother. That's a massive twist, isn't it?
Yeah.
He admits it, yes, but then says Emily's constant, quiet kindness towards snakes has earned his help. He'd watched her, knew she'd saved our lives, never harmed us. It's such a powerful example of karma, maybe, or redemption, past actions being met and balanced by present compassion. It completely defies that simple eye for an eye idea her father lived by.
And he offers her the serpent's jewel to save her father. It's described as a small, glowing white quartz stone wrapped in this misty light. He tells her exactly what to do. Place it on the wound. It'll turn blue as it draws out the venom. Then soak it in milk to cleanse it. Emily does exactly as he says, and her father recovers. He wakes up with this totally new outlook. "Emily," he whispers, "I had a dream. It showed me my biggest mistake. Snakes aren't enemies. I'll never harm one again." Just like that, the cycle of hatred that defined their lives is broken, not by more violence, but by this miracle born from Emily's own hidden compassion.
It's a very satisfying resolution for the father's story arc, emotionally speaking, though it does make you think about forgiveness and healing from that kind of deep trauma. The story gives us this profound, almost instant transformation through a mystical dream. In reality, shifting away from years of ingrained hatred usually takes a lot more internal work, doesn't it? The narrative uses this powerful symbol of the dream to achieve a psychological breakthrough that, well, might take years in the real world. It emphasizes the story's more mythical approach to healing, perhaps, rather than purely psychological.
That's a good point. And the Serpent King wasn't quite done. Emily, being humble, wants to give the jewel back. But he has one last test for her, a really crucial one. This sophisticated-looking city man shows up, says he's heard rumors about the jewel. He starts offering huge amounts of money for it. First $500,000, then keeps going up to $1.5 million, tempting her with enough cash to completely change her life, escape her rundown place.
And this is where, for me, the deep dive into human intent really comes into focus. The Serpent King later admits that the city man was him, in disguise. He was watching to see if greed would sway her, just like it had, maybe more subtly, swayed her mother. It's that classic test of character, isn't it? Puts Emily right at the same crossroads her mother faced, but now with the weight of her own experiences, her father's recovery, her refusal to sell, her commitment to the jewel's purpose, saving lives. It honors the trust he placed in her. It proves she's the true, worthy guardian.
Exactly, she passed the test. So she's entrusted with the Serpent's Jewel permanently. The Serpent King explains that in his long life, his century of life, he's seen greed destroy so many homes, so many lives. But he believes Emily will use it right, that she'll use its power to genuinely help people. Emily, quite naturally, is scared at first. Owning something so powerful, so valuable, it's dangerous. But the Serpent King gives her this really profound reassurance. He says, if you live in fear, it's not for you. But if you help others, it's your greatest power. He adds, protecting it won't be easy, but you're not alone. When danger comes, I'll be there. Then he just dissolves into mist, leaving her with the stone and this huge, life-changing responsibility.
It's such a powerful shift in the object's meaning right there. The jewel started as a symbol of, well, fatal greed for her mother. But in Emily's hands, it becomes this tool for life-saving compassion. It speaks to a deeper idea, I think, that the real value of anything, an object, a skill, a resource, isn't just its material worth. It's determined by the heart and the intention of the person using it. It's all about how you choose to use the power you're given.
And Emily totally embraces that. In her community, snake bites were apparently quite common, often deadly for kids, especially during rainy seasons. She becomes this quiet, unassuming hero. People would come to her, she'd calmly take the jewel, place it on the wound, watch it draw out the venom, saved countless lives. She says, saving lives filled me with joy unlike anything else. She really embodies the jewel's true purpose and maybe the culmination of her own journey.
And that commitment, that purity of intention, it seems to create its own kind of protection around her. The story mentions that feeling of being watched, those glowing eyes in the dark, and the fact that the jewel was never stolen, even though she lived in a poor area. It suggests the Serpent King is still watching over her, protecting her. It reinforces that idea you find in many traditions that blessings, real power, are often tied to the purity of your actions and intentions. True guardianship gets recognized and supported, sometimes by forces we don't see.
So, thinking about this incredible story, what does it mean for you, listening right now, in your own life? The narrative leaves us with this really thought-provoking reflection. Human intent and how we weigh gain and loss shape our lives. It says sometimes we get things that seem valuable in worldly terms, but their true worth only grows when they're used to benefit others. That wealth can disappear, but good deeds last. It's a powerful nudge to look at our own motivations, isn't it? To look beyond just having things to the lasting impact of doing things for others.
Yeah, the narrative poses a really fundamental question, doesn't it? It challenges us to think, what are we really building our lives on? Is it just chasing external wealth, which is temporary? Or is it about creating an enduring legacy through service and compassion? True wisdom, the story seems to say, comes from constantly asking, how can what I have, my skills, my time, my resources, how can that genuinely help someone else? It's a reminder that, worldly gains might fade, but the reward that comes from pure intent and compassionate action, that's truly eternal.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into the Serpent's Jewel. Emily's journey is just amazing. From being this child silently pushing back against her father's grief to becoming this quiet guardian of life, helped by this ancient mystical power. It really makes you rethink what wealth means and what kind of legacy actually lasts.
It's such a powerful story. It really encourages us to look beyond our first impressions of good and evil, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It challenges us to see that redemption isn't always found in vengeance, but often in compassion. And it reminds us that sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the most unlikely sources and interactions.
Yeah. This story really does invite us to think about our own gifts, whatever they are, big or small, our talents, resources, even just our time and attention. What serpent's jewel might each of us be holding? And what would it look like if we consciously chose to use those gifts to be a source of blessing for the people around us? Creating a legacy that actually makes a difference. That's definitely something worth pondering.